I'm at Gatesgarth Farm at the head of Buttermere in the northwest corner of the Lake District. I'm waiting for Bill Peascod, and we're going to attempt that magnificent first ascent that he made 44 years ago. He called it Eagle Front, and it's on Eagle Crag, high up in Birkness Coombe. It's that little valley up there which was sculpted thousands of years ago by the glaciers, which of course gave the Lake District their present shape and form. And there he is as well.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Bill. Do you have a good ride?
Yeah, great ride.
Well, I must say that's an incredible bike. It must have been a hard work in those days, wasn't it?
Vintage bike, no trouble.
Might as well get going.
Yeah, good
We're
on us.
going to have to beat the weather, you know. The forecast was lousy this morning.
Well, it'll be right. This is the start, Chris.
Well,
it all began.
This is where we start getting geared up as well, Bill. So let's have a look at the gear you used, what, 24 years ago?
A long drag up there. It doesn't get any shorter in time.
Well, at least you didn't carry as much gear as the modern day climber did, which is something.
This is about how much we carried. We had the rope each, and these are the great wonders of the time. All wool was gym shoes is what they were, and we always got a size less than the ones that we could squeeze into. You took your normal size and then got a size less. But you had to pair off all the excess around there, as I've done with these ones here, in order to get near to the rock.
Anyway, let's get our gear going, get our footwear on. It's about 24 years since I climbed in rubbers, so I think this is going to be a fairly frightening experience.
God, this is bloody dreadful.
Well, they're very greasy.
Oh, it's terrible. Yes, I think I'll try this in socks.
You do it in socks?
Bugger this, you've got no idea. My missus will go mad. I'll put a good runner on here, I think, Chris. Beauty.
The thing one tends to forget is that in those days, I mean, those big spike runners were the only runners you could get, wasn't it?
But
there's not many of them around either.
It's a good one. It's a good one. And I'll tell you what, with all this crud around, it's very welcome. Very welcome indeed. By God, it is greasy. Bloody hell. I think we'll have to get into the other gear, Chris. This is...
Yeah, it's no joke climbing with this kind of stuff on wet rock.
I've been in drier places in my time. What do you get? Handles? They don't last very long. Right, Chris, I'm up.
Okay, well done.
Yes, I'm putting the belay on now.
Do you want me to bring up the new gear?
Yes, because it's absolutely khaki.
Right, okay.
And I think we better get into the new stuff. It's all right doing this in good weather, but this is too cruddy.
Right, okay.
Okay,
coming up now.
It's like climbing with mackerel on your feet.
Certainly is, isn't it? And it makes you realise just how challenging climbing in one's early days was, when, certainly with a hemp rope, you couldn't afford to fall off. Well, until today, I'd stopped climbing in the wet. I think it's a young man's game. So what you and I are doing in these conditions, Mr. Peascod, I know not.
Ah, you're a young man. Goodness gracious me, it's me. Do you know I can draw the pension next year?
We'll come and repeat this on the day that you draw your pension. There
Okay.
you are.
It's very, very easy, Chris.
Is there any change, Bill, from what it was like all those years ago? just as dirty now, is it?
Oh, it's bloody hell's fire. This is really cruddy. There's no way in the world I'm going to get another runner in. I've got a wet moss, Chris, so just
Right, I'm watching you.
watch out. I might come down to meet you. This is bloody dreadful, this. It really is very, very wet. It's just an awkward little balances thing up. And everything is wet as hell, Chris. Wet as hell. There's a good little one there, which is going to work if my foot stays on the bloody foothold.
Well done, Bill.
That's better.
Well, that's
Oh,
why I
that son of a
turned back
bloody
some
move.
14 years ago, so you've done better than I.
Oh, what a sort of a bloody move. It's absolutely dripping with,
I bet it's a heck of a sight harder than when you first did it, isn't it?
dripping with shit. I'll tell you what, Chris. We're in for some trouble up right above me.
Well, how are you going to play this?
Well, this looks pretty crummy to me, Chris. There's a lot of muck here. What I'll do, if you can get nicely up against the rock there, I'll climb onto your shoulders, and it'll keep my foot on that wet stuff there. And then when I move up onto here, if you can hold my foot up onto there, I'll be able to reach those decent poles.
Right, and this is how you did in 1940, was it?
This is the old traditional combined tactics way. And I did it in 1940. Right, have you got me?
I bet you were a bit lighter in 1940, Bill.
Tell you what.
Ooh, ouch, okay.
Are you all right?
Yeah, just about. Oh, bloody hell, Bill. Oh. Hope you're enjoying yourself, mate, because...
Are you okay?
Yep, I'm okay, actually. Just take your time. Can you get a hold?
I've got a couple of little finger holes, but they're wet through.
Remember, this is a hell of a sight worse than when you first did it. Well done, Bill. Well done.
I'm not anywhere yet. That's better.
Okay, just keep, you're doing great.
That's bloody desperate. Oh, I've got a finger hold.
Still, I bet that was a lot harder than when you first did it some 40 years ago, wasn't it?
We picked drier conditions than this when we first did it.
Oh, that's great. Well, at least it's a nice ledge. You just stop here and rest and admire the view.
Yeah, lovely view. Absolutely magnificent.
How important is just being in the Lake District, the beauty of the hills?
Discovering the Lake District changed my whole way of life. Changed everything about it. Filled me with something that I hadn't even realised existed before when I worked in the mines.
What made you go to Australia in the early 50s?
Well, I went into Australia because I mainly to look for some more money. But I had to leave this, and leaving this was leaving behind a part of my life. It was a bloody great void when I got to Australia. That's why I took up painting. Painting was a thing that helped to fill the void for me, where I could really try to say something about landscape painting.
And this, of course, was painting Australian landscapes.
Well, that's funny that, because my wife and I came back here in '74, and it was a day not unlike this. We were coming up the valley, up from Lawton up into Buttermere here, and she looked at the clouds hanging over the mountain tops and she said, "You haven't been painting Australia, this is what you've been painting." Oh, thank Christ for that. God, that was exciting. Bloody old adrenaline was running there. That's better. That feels good. Okay, slag off, Chris. I'm tying on.
Okay, take in, Bill.
Coming you ready, Chris?
Right, climbing.
I've got a good belay.
Good.
Once you get
Oh,
a
it is unpleasant, isn't it? Whew. Suddenly you go from relatively dry rock
Yeah.
to exceedingly wet and slippery rock. I must say though, Bill, all the same, this is a real classic route, this one of yours. I think even the way it kind of wends its way round the crag
It certainly does.
gives it a good feel to it. It's a kind of a north wall of the Eiger. Rather than a modern Duratissima. Well, I can see why you weren't too comfortable here. There's some reasonable hills here.
See, yes, there's a good view of the scree underneath your feet there. I can see straight down.
There's a real sense of exposure, isn't
Yeah,
there?
yeah. Yeah.
I bet you were glad of the...
Oh, I tell you what, it's a couple of good runners I put in. That
I'm
one
not
popped
sure
off.
about that. They look a bit more psychological to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, what, about 300 feet down there, wouldn't it? 350
It'd be
feet.
something like that, because what,
Oh,
the
it
whole
must
of the
be.
climb's about 500, isn't it?
Yeah, it must be more than that. Must be 400 feet down there. This next move in particular I found very unpleasant.
Yep. Yeah, feel my, my hand slipping, my foot slipped.
Yes.
Oh, I must say you did well leading this, Bill. And I was even muttering about you shouldn't take any nuts as you didn't have any in the old days, but my goodness. Did you come straight up this groove?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, I better come up it as well then. That's absolutely horrendous.
There's a big one right at the top there. Yes.
That's it.
But your feet are going to slip, aren't they? Well, what do you reckon to that lot?
Oh, it's one of the nastiest, slipperiest pitches I've done for a long time.
What do you reckon to that up there, though?
That, actually, when you first got to the foot of that, you must have had a sinking feeling, didn't you? Because it looks pretty hard.
It did, and then we got into it and found big handholds. Marvellous.
Great.
Thank God it's bone dry. Thank God it's bone dry.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah.
You get as much kick as you ever have done out of climbing.
Oh, yeah. 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 Great. Okay, Chris, I'm safe.
Right. Yeah, my slightly soggy socks don't give the best.
There's a nice little traverse out on this wall here. Little beauty.
Oh, it's lovely, that.
What it needs is a fortnight's good clean-up.
Oh, yes, isn't that beautiful?
Ooh,
Well, it's off there. There we are. Ah, it's lovely. Right? I think that's the top, isn't it?
No, a little bit more to go. Just not much. It's rest of it's easy.
Gosh, shall I lead the last bit?
Yeah, all right.
Right. Right, Bill, we've made it, man. Can you actually cast your mind back those 44 years? And how did you feel as you came out like we've just done now and done that climb?
Oh, I can, because I can see a young kid of 20 digging his way out of a coal mine up into the fresh air, and involved in an experience like this, which was something that many of his fellows couldn't or hadn't indulged in. It burned into my very soul. When I repeated again 8 years later, it was the same experience. And today, in a different kind of a way, a sense of tremendous satisfaction that I've been able to do it. Not well, but I've got it.